there, and welcome to Mama Drama and Trauma. I'm your host, Jenny Kimmel, and today's episode feels different. Not heavy, not rushed, not reactive, just steady. This is not an episode about what happened to me. This is an episode about who I am becoming, because something has shifted in me. I'm still healing. I'm still learning. I'm still a work in progress. And I honestly believe I will be for the rest of my life. And I'm okay with that. But I'm also choosing how I live while I heal. I'm choosing how my body feels while I grow. I'm choosing what kind of energy I bring into my home. And I'm choosing what kind of mom my kids get to experience as I evolve. I'm learning that peace is not something you find someday after everything feels resolved. Peace is something you choose in small, quiet moments, in your breath, in your body, in how you respond, in how you let go. When I think about peace, I don't think about perfection. I think about lightness. I think about breathing. I think about my shoulders dropping. I think about my body finally learning that it is safe to relax. And this episode is my quiet declaration, not about being healed, but about how I am choosing to live now. Declaration 1, I choose to pause before I react. There was a time when my emotions lived at the very front of me. If something happened, I reacted immediately. Good or bad, it came out right away. Tight chest, fast words, big feelings. I lived in a state of overwhelm. That word describes her perfectly. Overwhelmed. And if you know me, you know I'm a type A personality. I like things done right. I like things in order. I like things to feel handled. And when they didn't, my body stayed tight. My jaw stayed clenched. My shoulders stayed lifted. Even when I laid down at night to sleep, I could feel my body still holding tension. I didn't even realize how much I was carrying until I started trying to put some of it down. And lately, something small but powerful has been changing in me. I've been learning to pause, to breathe before I respond, to let my body soften before my mouth moves, to check in with myself instead of immediately reacting to the moment. Over the holidays, there were 3 big messes in my kitchen. The kind of messes that would have normally sent me straight into frustration. Raised voice, tight chest, instant overwhelm. But instead, I surprised myself. I took a breath. I felt my shoulders drop, and I thought, it is what it is. This can be cleaned up. There is no reason to stress my body out over something I can't change. And in that moment, I felt light, not because the mess was gone, but because my nervous system didn't go into survival mode over it. This is what emotional regulation looks like in real life. Not perfection, not being calm all the time, but choosing not to let your body spiral over things that don't deserve your peace. And what I'm realizing is that regulation doesn't just live in the big emotional moments. It lives in the ordinary ones. It lives in how I walk through my house, in how I breathe while I'm folding laundry, in how my shoulders feel when I'm sitting on the couch at night, in how quickly I tense up, and how slowly I'm learning to let it go. I've started noticing my body more. I notice when my jaw is clenched. I notice when my stomach is tight. I notice when my breath is shallow. And instead of ignoring it, I pause. Sometimes I put my hand on my chest. Sometimes I take a slow breath in through my nose and let it out slowly through my mouth. Sometimes I just sit still for a moment and remind myself, you are safe right now. and it sounds so simple. But for a nervous system that has lived in survival mode for a long time, it takes real intention. It takes intention to choose calm when your body is used to chaos. It takes intention to soften when you've spent years holding everything together. It takes awareness to stop living in reaction and start living in intention. I am learning that my body doesn't need to be on high alert all the time, that my home doesn't need to feel tense to function, that my kids don't need a perfect mom, they need a regulated one. They need a mom who pauses, a mom who breathes, a mom who doesn't let small things become big storms. And I'm not doing this because I'm trying to be a different person. I'm doing this because I'm finally allowing myself to be a safer version of who I already am. A softer version, a calmer version, a more grounded version. This is not me becoming less. This is me becoming more rooted, more present, more peaceful. And this is what choosing peace looks like in real life. Quiet, intentional, ongoing. I want my kids to know a calmer version of me, a softer version, a more patient version. I want them to feel relaxed around me. I want them to feel safe in my presence. I want them to feel patience instead of pressure. So my first quiet declaration is this: I choose to pause before I react. I choose to breathe before I respond. I choose to soften my body before I tighten my words. I choose to protect my nervous system. And I choose to show my kids what calm can look like. Not perfectly, but intentionally. Declaration 2, I choose to let things be what they are. For a long time, I lived like everything had to be controlled in order to feel safe. Controlled schedules, controlled plans, controlled expectations, controlled standards. If everything was handled, I could breathe. If everything was in order, I could relax. If everything was perfect, I could feel okay. And I didn't realize how much pressure that created, not just for me, but for the people around me. I've always liked a schedule. Structure has always felt comforting to me, but especially when I had 3 kids under 2, a schedule wasn't just helpful. It was necessary. Back then, tight schedules mattered. They kept the day moving. They kept everyone fed, rested, safe. They kept me functioning. Control wasn't about perfection, it was about survival. And even though that season has passed, my body never fully let go of that level of bracing. My body stayed tight. My mind stayed busy. My nervous system stayed on high alert. And slowly, I've been learning something new. That not everything needs to be perfect to be peaceful. Not everything needs to be fixed to be safe. Not everything needs to be controlled to be okay. I am learning how to let things be what they are. I'm learning how to leave a mess without letting it become a storm inside my body. I'm learning how to let a day be imperfect without calling it a failure. I'm learning how to release the urge to manage every moment just to feel calm. And I can feel this shift in my body. My breath comes easier. My shoulders drop faster. My mind doesn't spiral the way it used to. Sometimes I catch myself waiting for the other shoe to drop, waiting for something to go wrong, waiting for a reason to brace, waiting for my body to tense back up. And when I notice that, I pause. I remind myself that I am not in survival anymore, that I am allowed to be here now, that I am allowed to feel calm without earning it. I remind myself that my nervous system doesn't need to be on constant alert to keep my family safe. That peace is not something I have to deserve. It is something I am allowed to choose. I am learning that slowing down does not mean I am falling behind. It means I am finally arriving inside my own life. And that is not a step backward. That is wisdom. I am realizing that peace is not created through control. It is created through trust. Trusting myself, trusting my body, trusting that I can handle what comes without bracing for everything in advance. My kids don't need a perfectly run home. They need a regulated one. They need a mom who can laugh through the mess, who can breathe through the chaos, who can stay grounded when things don't go exactly as planned. So my second quiet declaration is this: I choose to let things be what they are. I choose to release perfection. I choose to soften my grip. I choose to trust my body more than my fear. And I choose to allow life to unfold without bracing for every outcome. Not perfectly, but gently. Declaration 3, I choose to protect my inner world. For a long time, I believed that being a good person meant being available. Available for conversations, available for fixing, available for explaining, available for accommodating. If someone was uncomfortable, I felt responsible. If someone was upset, I felt like I needed to smooth it out. If someone needed something, my instinct was to stretch myself thinner to make it happen. I thought being kind meant being endlessly flexible. But over time, I realized something important. My inner world was getting crowded. My energy was getting thin. My peace was getting negotiated away in small, quiet ways. I was present for everyone, but rarely present for myself. There were so many moments when my body was asking for rest, but my mind kept saying yes. Yes to conversations I didn't have the space for. Yes to emotional labor I didn't have the energy for. Yes to carrying things that were never meant to be mine. And every time I said yes out of habit instead of honesty, I could feel my peace quietly slipping through my fingers. Not all at once, but slowly, in ways I didn't even notice at first. I am learning now that I am allowed to protect my quiet, that my time does not have to be available to everyone, that my energy is not an unlimited resource, and that choosing myself sometimes is not selfish. It is necessary. And lately, something has been shifting. I am learning that boundaries are not walls. They are filters. They protect what matters most. They protect my breath. They protect my body. They protect my nervous system. They protect the tone of my home. I am learning that I don't have to explain my needs to make them valid. I don't have to earn rest to deserve it. I don't have to stay in conversations that feel heavy, rushed, or unsafe. I am learning how to pause instead of over-engaging, how to step back instead of over-explaining, how to choose quiet over chaos. I am learning to protect my peace without guilt, and I can feel the difference in my body. My shoulders don't stay lifted the way they used to. My chest doesn't tighten the way it used to. My breath doesn't shorten the way it used to. I feel steadier. I feel clearer. I feel more rooted inside myself. My kids don't need a mom who is always available to everyone else. They need a mom who is emotionally present at home. They need consistency, not exhaustion. They need calm, not constant motion. So my third quiet declaration is this: I choose to protect my inner world. I choose to filter what comes into my space. I choose to honor my limits without apology. I choose to step back when something costs my peace. And I choose to make room for what keeps my nervous system safe, not defensively, but intentionally. Declaration 4. I choose to trust my body and my inner voice. For a long time, I lived from my head, from my thoughts, from my worries, from my need to analyze everything before I felt safe moving forward. If I could think it through, I could handle it. If I could prepare for every outcome, I could protect myself. If I could anticipate what might go wrong, I could stay one step ahead. But my body was always trying to speak to me. Through tight shoulders, through shallow breath, through exhaustion, I kept pushing past. Through the quiet knowing I didn't always listen to. And I ignored those signals more often than I want to admit. I told myself to keep going, to be stronger, to push through, to handle more. And slowly, my nervous system paid the price. I was tired in ways sleep didn't fix. I was tense in ways rest didn't touch. I was alert in moments that were meant to feel safe. And lately, something has been changing. I am learning how to listen inward. Part of what has helped me learn this is grounding, learning how to bring my body back into the present moment. I learned this through Dr. Christie, through slowing down, through breath, through physically reconnecting with the earth instead of living only in my head. Sometimes that looks like standing barefoot on the grass and feeling my feet make contact with the ground beneath me. Sometimes it looks like stepping outside and letting the sun touch my face. Sometimes it looks like lifting my arms into the air and letting everything I've been holding release out through my fingertips. Not in a dramatic way, in a gentle, quiet, grounding way. These moments remind my body that I am here, that I am safe, that it's okay to relax my body. And the more I practice this, the more I trust what my body is telling me. To pause when my chest tightens, to breathe when my shoulders lift, to slow down when my body says to. I am learning that my body holds wisdom, that it remembers what my mind tries to ignore, that it knows when something feels off, even when I can't explain why. I'm learning to trust my body in those moments, not because it makes logical sense, but because my body has carried me through every season of my life. I'm learning that safety is not created by overthinking. It's created by regulation, by presence, by listening to what my body is asking for. My kids don't need a mom who is always thinking 10 steps ahead. They need a mom who is grounded right here. They need a mom who feels safe in her own body. They need a mom who can model what it looks like to listen inward. So my fourth quiet declaration is this: I choose to trust my body. I choose to listen to my inner voice. I choose to pause when my body asks for rest. I choose to move slowly when something feels heavy. And I choose to let my body lead me back to calm, not perfectly, but gently. Declaration 5, I choose to live soft, present, and free. For a long time, I thought strength meant holding everything together, staying alert, staying prepared, staying one step ahead. I thought being strong meant bracing for what might go wrong. I thought being responsible meant carrying more than my share. I thought being safe meant keeping my guard up at all times. But that version of strength kept my body tired. It kept my breath shallow. It kept my heart guarded. And it kept me living in a constant state of almost okay. Almost calm, almost relaxed, almost present. And I don't want to live almost anymore. I want to live here and now. I want to live free in my own body. I never want to live in survival mode again, because survival ravages your body in ways that are hard to explain. Mentally, physically, emotionally, it keeps your breath shallow, your shoulders tight, your heart guarded. It teaches your body to stay braced instead of staying present. And I am done living that way. I am choosing a life that my body feels safe living inside. I want to feel my breath as it enters my chest. I want to feel my feet on the floor. I want to feel my body soften at the end of the day instead of bracing for tomorrow. I want my home to feel like a place you can exhale. I want my kids to feel peace in my presence. I want my life to feel grounded, not rushed. I am learning that being present is its own kind of power, that slowing down is not falling behind, that softness is not weakness, that peace is not passive. Peace is intentional, peace is protected, peace is chosen, and I am choosing it. Not because my life is perfect, not because everything feels resolved, but because my nervous system deserves safety while I grow. Because my kids deserve a mom who is regulated, not rushed. Because my body deserves rest, not survival. Because my heart deserves gentleness, not constant defense. I am still healing. I am still learning. I am still becoming. And I am okay with that. So my final quiet declaration is this: I choose to live soft. I choose to live present. I choose to live free. I choose to protect my peace. And I choose to let this be the way I move forward. Not perfectly, but intentionally. If this episode met you in a tender place, I want you to know something. Your body is learning safety. Your breath is learning calm, and that matters more than you think. You are learning how to live in your body again. You are learning how to breathe again. You are learning how to soften while you grow. And that takes courage. So this week, I want to gently invite you to choose one small moment of peace. Just one. One breath before you respond. One pause before you react. One place in your day where you let your shoulders drop and remind your body that it is safe. And if this episode spoke to you, I would love for you to share it with someone who might need a softer moment right now. You can also follow Mama Drama and Trauma on your favorite podcast platform so you don't miss future episodes. And if you want to stay connected between episodes, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Mama Drama and Trauma, where I share grounding reflections, gentle reminders, and quiet encouragement. Thank you for being here. Thank you for choosing yourself. And thank you for meeting yourself where you are. As always, you are strong, you are worthy, and your story matters. Until next time, take care of you.